My name is Christoph Völcker, and I want to give a short impulse talk about that. So please, let's start with the presentation. First of all, I'm taking care for the team lead of 3D printing and 3D printed electronics, advanced technologies at Würth Electronics. With the next slide, you can see Würth Electronics is one company out of the big company Würth. We do have about 400 something companies in that. And for Würth Electronics, we are taking care for components, which you can see on the next slide, which is for me, myself, a very focus for sustainability in future, because we are doing on R&D projects and searching, okay, how can we create, if we use advanced technologies in future, new components, new products, new lifestyle products as well through electronics with advanced technologies, but with the focus of sustainability. Let's have a short view. Please come to the next slide. Where we are. I want to get in touch with you closely, so please, meanwhile, the short impulse talk, scan the QR code, and there you will be lead to a Menti slide where you can just type in your own keywords, what you understand in sustainability, and scan it, type it in, and submit and send it. And at the end, we're gonna have maybe a short diagram on that. So where are we? Or where do we come from? Please, next slide. You will find the QR code all the time at the same pages again. So have a look on sustainability. Come closer to that. Where are we right now? Please, next slide. So all of us do know the mobile phones. In that case, iPhone, okay. But this is kind of the Flintstone we have nowadays. So we do everything with that. So if we are taking care of those products which surround us everywhere, we should check how sustainable are those. Next slide, please. And products, they are delivered today through technologies, changes in technologies, the changes or the social surrounding where we are living in, and politics. So let's have a look on the technologies, because we are talking about advanced technologies, and have a short history look out on that. Next slide, please. So you all know the industrialization. But what happened with industrialization? It was new technologies. We have been able to mass production. We had been able to use new materials to bend wood, to bend actually metal tubes. And so we wanted to start the mass production on those products, but what we kindly forgot on that time was really to look, okay, what will happen to the global? What will happen to our surroundings? What will happen to the old behavior we are in? So there had been associations, hopefully, to point out that. Next slide, please. Like the Club of Rome, the WWF, or Greenpeace, they had been invented in the 50s and 60s to point out, hey, what you're producing, please don't produce crap. Have a look on that and how to move forward. And how do we see the days today? It's kind of the same epoch now. So we see industrial manufacturing with advanced technologies, with computers, digitalization, 3D printing, and robotics and everything. So we see it virtually, and we want to produce it anywhere. But this is just the same kind of an epoch 100 years ago, where we said, okay, good, new technologies will lead us to a new epoch in that field. And today's, I'm very happy that all of us have the feeling of sustainability in our side. But what does it really mean? Next slide, please. So the question is, yes, be brave and be wise if you implement advanced technologies. You should really take the chance to use them, 3D printing, robotics, digitalization, what we can all use, but really wisely implement it, and not only do it because you can do it. Think about what you will make an impact on that. So from the point of view at Würth Electronics or at Würth, we are really focusing those things. So we are taking care of new technologies like horticulture, with vertical farming in those cases, with drones and farming. So we can support all those fields with electronics. It's all about electronics in these days. But what we further do is we not only focus our electronic views, we as well focus different topics like, okay, what happens in other industries? So I want to point out a few from the 3D Pioneers Challenge of the last years, where I think if you have a look at those and you try to find the transfer to use it for your company, for your processes, this might be helpful. Please, next slides. For example, Cassidy Silbernagel designed a new engine through advanced technologies, through 3D printing. So if you use the new technologies and you can think about the performance, if you think about the performance, it might be a better performance, but maybe lighter and everything. So you can actually use this for electric cars, but in any kind of machines. Next slide, please. Upprinting food. So what happens to all our waste in the waste industry, in restaurants and everything? And Elselinde Klinte, she designed with upcycling food, upprinting food, a system, a whole process where we can just collect the wasted food and dry it and print it at least for a nice, very good looking star restaurant dessert. Next slide, please. Hexa. Hexa is a surfboard which those guys from France are on a top high-end view right now, like a startup, and there's a focus on that. They won last year's challenge in the design field. They use plastics and reuse it and build the surfboards. It's still, let's say, only a lifestyle product for very, very few people who will be able to use it. But, you know, there's an awareness. And the awareness is, okay, let's upcycle and use it, reuse it for new products. The next, please. Yeah, sustainability, what does it actually mean? Sustainability, is it about global warming? Is it about climate change? Is it about what happens to the food industry, to products? But what happens to us, ourselves, to human being? So I'm pretty sure all of you know about the printed heart 2 years ago. And the printed heart will change totally. What does it mean with ourselves, with our body? How sustainable will be the human being kind? And further, the industry for building, Würth has an eye on that. Printing with mud means, okay, we don't need to bring everything. We don't need to ship everything anywhere. We could be able to use the materials we find there at the location and print mud there. So combination between robotics, CAD design and new materials, sustainable materials, is a huge, huge focus on that. And I think this is only already kind of the last slide. Concrete is one of the materials where you really have to focus. From the last ages for architecture, we used so much concrete up from the 50s, and this is just not sustainable at all. Even the process and everything. The ETH Zurich is really keen on focusing the designing and still using concrete, because we do know all the performance from concrete, what we can use for the buildings, but how to use it and maybe how much do you really need it. You don't have to pour everything inside there. You can use it really wisely and rethink the materials you're using, rethink how you can implement advanced technologies and digitalization to bring all our products, all our surroundings, like, to the market still. And so please come to the last slide. I want to come back and invite you to, if you don't have it done yet, please check it out, to scan it again and put in some points, keywords, what does it mean, sustainability, for you. In my point of view, sustainability is not only, let's say, greenwashing, marketing purposes or the aim to do something, often it says, okay, there's a lot of budget needed for that in the industry and everything. Yes, but it's worth it. And sustainability starts by yourself, starts by a thing from your own heart to think about and how to live actually. And it's not only to point out the others, what they are doing or not. I'm pretty happy that these days they just invented the law that we are not allowed to use any plastic straws and everything again. So this is now done. It is like the politics decided this. It will give a social impact, and please use the technologies, at least the advanced technologies now, to use those. So I want to show you what all the other people who maybe joined showed. Maybe I can go forward slightly and show it with my...
Oh.
So you can see it here. So there's a lot with circular economy, cradle to cradle. If we would have the possibility or already the thoughts about sustainability before we started the production, we might not actually had to use or made it up like cradle to cradle. So thanks a lot for joining. I think this panel discussion now is a very, very deep focus where we all have to think about. And I'm very, very happy that we have lots of talks now, mainly from the 3D Pioneers Challenge. And I'm happy to be here to join that.